Hey guys, welcome back. Long time no see. So if you watched a couple videos back, you know that I tried to make a sourdough starter from scratch and that didn't work out too well. Well, since that video, I've actually tried to make another sourdough starter from scratch that I didn't document on here. But if you go to my TikTok, you'll be able to see that. So today, this video is us making a sourdough starter that's already made. So this is Eve. You can buy this off of TikTok, off of Etsy. A pre-made sourdough starter that's just dehydrated, and all we're gonna do basically is wake it up and it's gonna be an active and ready starter. So I just ordered it off of TikTok. It comes from the southernsourdough.com right there. Basically, it comes with a little guide of what we're going to do every day, and then also what we're going to do to maintain our sourdough starter after we get it active. So let me just read to you a little bit of it in case you want to try and do it yourself at home after getting your own Eve sourdough starter. So we're just going to need something to put your sourdough starter in, a 16-ounce glass jar. This is 12. I'm hoping it's going to work the same and it's going to be fine. I guess we're going to find out together. Then you're going to need filtered or tap water, unbleached all-purpose or bread flour, mixing utensils, no metal, a large jar to transfer on day 5. So that's what you'll need. And now we're going to go on to day 1. I know a lot of reading, you guys, I'm sorry. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and obviously I'll show you guys as we do it, is we're just gonna empty the full packet of dehydrator starter into our glass jar. Then we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of room temperature water. Then we're gonna stir and let that sit for an hour. And then after 1 hour, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of flour. It's okay if it's not fully dissolved in the water. Stir well until all clumps of flour are incorporated. Cover loosely with a lid and let sit at room temperature for 24 hours. So that's what we're gonna do. This is exactly what the instructions say to do. We're gonna empty our full pack of Eve into our glass container. Okay. We're gonna add 3 tablespoons of room temperature water. I only know where my half tablespoon is, so we're gonna do that. Then we're gonna stir this up in our container. Now we're gonna let this sit for an hour, and then we're gonna come back and finish our day 1 process. Something that I also wanted to say was that honestly, if you're someone like me and you get impatient and when you jump into a new hobby, you want to do it right away, honestly, I would just recommend getting an already established sourdough starter. Obviously, you can make it from scratch, but I recommend just already getting the pre-made sourdough starter. It's already just going to make your life 100 times more easier. And then obviously, later down the line, if you want to experiment and try making your own sourdough starter from scratch, obviously go right straight ahead. But I think if you're wanting to just jump into the hobby of bread making, all the sourdough discarding recipes, just get an already pre-made sourdough starter. It's just going to make your life in the process so much easier, honestly. That's what I should have done instead of trying to make a sourdough starter from scratch like 3 separate times. But we live and we learn. We've learned our lesson. Now hopefully the process will be easier and we can just jump into the baking process faster and sooner. Okay guys, so it has officially been an hour in our full pack of sourdough starter, and then we put in 3 tablespoons of water, let it sit for an hour. Now we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of flour. She recommends to use unbleached all-purpose flour or bread flour, so we're just going to use bread flour. and we're going to put a lid loosely on it. Okay, rehydrating our sourdough starter Eve day 1. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 24 hours from now, when we do day 2. Also, you guys, I feel like this process is so much easier because I already don't have to worry about if this is gonna be like active or if it's gonna take after a week or two. Because this says that it's gonna take up to 5 days and you can start baking with it on day 5. So it's a super fast and easy process. I don't have to worry about if it's gonna take, if it's gonna be active, because all we're doing is taking a dehydrated active sourdough starter and we're just rehydrating it, giving it food, feeding it again to make it come back alive. So honestly, in my opinion, if you want to get into sourdough starting, obviously do whatever you want. But as someone who's impatient and just wants to get right into a new hobby, I really would recommend just going and getting yourself a dehydrated sourdough starter. If you can get a cup or so of sourdough starter for somebody that you know, it'll just make your life so much easier and it will be so much more fun to just be able to get into the baking process so much faster. So I will see you guys in 24 hours tomorrow when we do day 2 of rehydrating our sourdough starter Eve. So it's day 2 of rehydrating our sourdough starter Eve, and this is what she looks like today on day 2. She's got all of these bubbles on the top and on the side. Once your starter has sat for 24 hours, it's time for its first feeding. Remove the lid and add 2 tablespoons of flour and 1 to 2 tablespoons of room temperature water. We're going for a thick pancake batter consistency. You don't want it to be runny but not too thick. Stir to combine, cover loosely, and let it sit at room temperature for another 24 hours. Normally when you're making your own sourdough starter, you're going to want to dump out half and then you're going to want to add equal parts flour and water to your starter, but with this one we're not doing that at all. So that's what we're going to do today. Come along with me as I do that. Put you guys down, 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 down. Honestly, I'd rather just do this. This is going to be a way easier process than just making your own. You get to be so much more relaxed and lazy. I would definitely recommend, again, just to get a pre-made sourdough starter when you're first starting out. And then maybe later down the line when you become a pro, make your own. It says to use either a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half. I think just a tablespoon is good. I don't think we need a half. So this is what the consistency looks like today. It's thick and it's falling off of the spatula. I'll let it sit for 24 hours and then come back tomorrow to see what we do for day 3 of rehydrating our sourdough starter Eve. Honestly, this has been a really easy process, especially with not having to dump out half each day and then add equal parts of flour and equal parts of water. It's just taking care of this already made starter, and it's turning out to be way easier than making your own. So I would, in my opinion, for myself, go with the pre-made starter over and over again. But see you guys tomorrow for day 3, see if any more activity happens to Eve, and to see what we do for day 3. Hey guys, so I had fed my sourdough starter earlier that day, and then I went to the movies for a couple of hours, and this was our sourdough starter after she rose some, and I wanted to show you guys that she was doubling in size after her feedings. Okay, you guys, so it's day 3 of rehydrating our sourdough starter, Eve. Today we're just going to do what we did yesterday, so I just want to show you the progress of Eve today. So I already showed you guys how she doubled in size, and this is what she looks like after. As you can see up here, this is like how high she got, and then all of the stuff on the side is her after she went back down to the same place that she was at the end of us feeding her yesterday. So that's a good sign because we want our sourdough starter to rise consistently. And that was day 2, so hopefully she'll rise on day 3 and day 4, and then she'll be able to bake with by day 5. So all we're going to do today is the same thing that we did yesterday. Add 2 tablespoons of flour, a tablespoon of water, or a tablespoon and a half. Mix her up, set her and forget her. So I'm not going to show you guys that today, I think, and I'll just see you guys tomorrow for day 4 and show you any progress that she made throughout the day. Okay, so this is day 3. I just got home. It's been a couple of hours, and I wanted to show you guys the progress of our sourdough starter, to show you again that it's rising and it's active and it's doing what it needs to be doing. So as you can see bubbles at the top, and I think the sourdough starter is already falling because as you can see it was up here and now it's coming already down to here, but it's still, even as it's falling, it's doubled in size and it has bubbles all along the edge. So that's a good sign, and we're perfectly on our way for day 4 of our sourdough starter. So this is day 4 of rehydrating our sourdough starter, Eve, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Today we're going to give Eve a bigger feeding. Instead of feeding her the 2 tablespoons of flour and the 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of flour, today we're feeding half a cup of flour and 1/4 cup of water, and if we need a little bit of more water, we're going to put a little bit more in there. But we can change our sourdough starter to a bigger container either today or tomorrow, but it's highly recommended to buy tomorrow, change it to a bigger container. So I think that's what we're going to do today. With only feeding it 2 tablespoons of flour, it's already always rises up to here and then goes back down, and that's obviously going to be way more flour than it's used to, and I'm just scared that it's going to overflow, and I'm just going to try and avoid that mess and that cleanup before it happens. But I don't really have, like, I have a bigger one. This one, I'll show you guys. You guys saw me clean my sourdough starter with this one last time, but I also, they say, at least this is all just going off of what other people who make sourdough say to do, to not, if you're a beginner, to start off with a big amount of sourdough that you have to keep maintenance on, because it's just a lot harder. So I don't know if I want this big of a container, but that's the only bigger container that I have. So you think that I should, I don't know. You think that I should just leave it in this one? We're just gonna do it. I messed up my sourdough starter, I guess. Ugh. I only have myself to blame. But, so. See you guys in a second. Of rehydrating our sourdough starter, Eve. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 5 of rehydrating our sourdough starter. I fear that I may also get a different container for Eve, for the sourdough starter. Eve, Claudia, whatever you want to call her, just her sourdough starter. But because this is already like a lot of room for her to grow, which is what we want, but I feel like this is just such a big container, and obviously, as you can see, she barely takes up any room in this container. So I'm thinking about getting a different container to store her in that's obviously bigger than what we have, but smaller than what she's in right now, just so that it's easier to maintain her and clean her up and stuff. But I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 5 of rehydrating our sourdough starter, and she's doing a great job. Okay, everybody, so it's a big day. So today is day 5 of rehydrating our sourdough starter, Eve, and today what we're doing is what we did yesterday. We're gonna feed our sourdough starter a cup of flour, a fourth a cup of room temperature water, and then we're gonna let it sit for 4 to 6 hours, and then if it rises in that time, we can bake with it. So today's gonna be a big day. We might get to bake our first loaf of sourdough, but we gotta feed her first. Let me show you the progress from last night. You can see that she rose up to here and then she fell back down, so she did double in size, and she's ready for her next feeding. Now today, if our sourdough starter rises in 4 to 6 hours, we can start baking with her, and then day 6 from here on out will just be the maintenance day if you don't want to bake with it every day. So I'll show you guys also how to maintain your sourdough starter tomorrow. Let me show you guys the consistency. This is our consistency with just the half cup of flour and the fourth cup of water. I want a thick pancake consistency. So we just fed our, well, we just rehydrated, fed, whatever you want to call it. We just fed our sourdough starter, Eve, and now all we're going to do is wait 4 to 6 hours for her to rise. Then we're going to wait for her to dome before she flattens out or before she sinks. I'm pretty sure that it's still good if she is flat, but you don't want to bake with it when it domes. You can obviously bake with it whatever time it is when it doubles, but to get a better flavor and taste, we want it to peak and we want it to dome. So I'll see you guys in 4 to 6 hours when our sourdough starter rises, and hopefully we're making our first loaf of sourdough.